world boss of the king, Skilly I Prince.
I'm belly princess, one crocodile pan the land. We them boys.
I'm a soul for make dinner. Look at crocodile and so that know what the gorilla. I go spilling no medilla, and your mother gonna nebula. Load up pickle papa.
Alright, so Masicka find himself in another dancehall field. And I think this is strategic. The reason I think this is strategic is because out of all of the dancehall artists them right now, I think Skillibeng is one of the biggest dancehall act internationally. You get me I say? And if you preach from a strategic point of view and from an artist perspective, it probably makes sense. Because in one of the toughest songs on Masicka album, Honor Roll, with Iman Craft, in this Skillibeng Panther call him Princess. You get me I say? And the fact that in this Vybz Kartel earlier this year and then come this the so-called Prince of Dancehall, it has to be connected. And the fact say in this Vybz Kartel earlier this year and Skillibeng is one of the biggest Kartel fans, this was expected. You get me I say? As I back with another installment. In this installment, we basically going to talk about Masicka versus Skillibeng. And if there should be a feud, who would have won that feud? Before we reach any further in the video, give this video a thumbs up and also comment on the feedback in the comment section what you think about this clash. But anyways, Masicka has been in the center of a lot of feuds. You know, from when you know so when you're the dancer top contender, there's always gonna be shot fires. It's literally like you walk with a target on your back. You get me I say? And we have seen where Skeng take shots of a Masicka, Alkali take shots of a Masicka, Tamli take shots of a Masicka, and Masicka returns some shot on him. You get me I say? Now we have Skillibeng taking shots of Masicka. You know, and Skillibeng released a preview and people are saying, that not sound good, that not gonna work, oh, you can't clash Masicka, oh, this and that. You get me I say? But we have all seen it where Masicka clashed Tamli. You know, and although it was side for side, as in genocide against Spartans and against Gaza, we basically get mixed signal from that clash. People say, oh, the genocide must say, oh, Masicka win. The Gaza fan must say Tamli win. Spartan fan must say Tamli win. You get me as But I think that clash was off balance, you know, when he basically turned the gun on Vybz Kartel. I think that kind of threw off the clash. Otherwise, I think the clash was going good, you know, but from him turning the gun on Vybz Kartel, I think that kind of threw off the clash and that kind of give Tamli the advantage because, you know, the Gaza fans are big already. You get me I say? And it's crazy because Masicka saying he feel a way, say, okay, the whole this thing against Masicka and Vybz Kartel, Masicka saying he feel a way because Vybz Kartel like the post of one of Tamli this track. You get me I say? And that kind of fuck up because at the end of the day, if you're a man and a friend, yeah, but you don't have respect for each other, and they did feel a way about that, that simply means say there's more feelings to carry. But I think that song was something waiting to drop, bro. I think people wanted it, but not at this moment. Because, bro, how can you sing a diss track? And, well, in my opinion, I think 80% of what he's saying about Vybz Kartel is true. You get me what I said? So, I think that was a track that was at the back of his mind and finally released it. But anyways, not to stray from Tamli, not to stray from Skillibeng and Masicka. You get me? Because, bro, once they come to a clash, or once it come to two big artists, they've always been comparison. Who is the bigger artist? Who is this? Who have the most sale? Who is better? You get me? I hate comparison between dancehall artists. It doesn't matter who are the better than who. Because at the end of the day, they are two different artists. Both lyrically, both lyrically, both performance wise, deliverance wise, style, them different in every total way. There's no way we can look on Skillibeng and say Skillibeng for a Masicka flow, or there's no way we can look on Masicka and say Masicka for a Skillibeng flow. So are two different artists, bro. There's two different type of artists. It's not like we can see any similarity between them. You know, and Skillibeng has not been in this Jamaica scene for a good while. As in, when I hear him, he might release singles, but they mostly connect overseas. And I think that's a win-win. I think once you can release a song and it don't hit locally but internationally, I think that's a win-win because it's crazy. When Skillibeng first dropped, wop wop wop, everybody say, oh, wop 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 fuck, oh, Skillibeng drop off a farm. But yet still when they go overseas and people start to gravitate to it, all of a sudden it's a bad song. You get me? I say so. Once a song can reach international market and perform good internationally, I think it's a win-win. Which will make locally them start pick up on it once it connect overseas. You get me? I say, but I think this would have been a good clash. You know, multiple artists like Masicka, Tamili, Vibes Cartel, even Malidan that was recently in a clash. All of them say, yo, clash is a good exposure. You know, so I think once an artist like Masicka, one of dancer top contenders right now in this new generation, can call in him, I think that is a stepping stone for you, not for Skillibeng in generally, but for any artist that is not getting the exposure or basically if them drop off a farm. But as I said before, Skillibeng is a good artist. Skillibeng are doing things internationally, without a doubt. So there's no way we can say, oh, this person do this better, this person. Again, I say because two of them are about good artists, both lyrical artists. Artists that start from the ground and they're on a level where not most dancehall artists can say them ever reach on a level there. But I think if we should get a clash between these two artists, it would have been a good clash. I think two of them are bad lyrically, both versatile, especially good at con lyrics. And I think this is something where the dancehall fans want to say, without a doubt. You get me? I say, we still listen to Masicka album because the album. One thing I probably don't like about feud in dancehall is there's always going to be a feud, but there's always going to be divide in the music. And I think say, oh, this has them before clash, but clash kind of make it more give them more exposure out there to see which dancehall artists have beef with who not like who. You get me? I say, so I've seen it a lot of times. You get me? I say, we have seen it from Gaza and Gully. The artists them divide who are vice with Cartel, who are vice with Mobad, who are vice with Mobad. You get me? I say, so from them time we basically see it. And in recent time, my honestly can say Joshua and Impressor we basically said Masicka. You know, and nothing wrong with that. It's human nature, you know, like everybody. But the thing I like about some of these dancehall artists, especially Iman Beanie Man, if you come up on stage and say, oh, Beanie Man is a king of the dancer, bro, we still talk about that. That's old news, bro. We still push a narrative that has already been squashed or have already been crowned. Come on, bro. We still talk about who is the king of the dancehall. Is it that you guys are getting a monthly allowance for being the king of the dancehall? Is it that this is a title where you literally can say yourself, bro? That it doesn't make sense, dog. So I honestly don't understand why them constantly push who is the king of the dancehall when the king has already been crowned. You get me? I say, so I think it's gonna make sense, somebody, bro, when Unofia focus on music. You get me? I say, and them kind of take the fun out of music when it get more than just music, you know. And I think it has never been a case where these feuds has been physically that that we know about, you know, but it might as well get physically because, bro, the way the man make the feud them seem so realistic in terms of who not like who not rate who, when all of these artists basically was friends, or if not friends, was associates. You get me? As all of these artists have already been collab with each other. Vibes Cartel collab with Masicka, Masicka collab with Tamili and in a countless songs. So I don't understand what the problem. You get me? As one of the songs say Masicka come out and say you're my Vibes Cartel and I'm a friend. So that's why I'm do this, that's why I'm do that. You know, but I think that's the beauty of being an artist. That's the beauty of being an artist because Masicka, the reason why Masicka this Vibes Cartel was a total fuckery excuse. You get me? I say, me think Masicka used that to say, oh, it's just the Vibes Cartel is a casualty of the war. You get me? I say, a war and anything is possible in a war. You get me? I say, Vibes Cartel say that. So I think him use that as an excuse for this Vibes Cartel because, you know, him see himself as, I'm not say bigger than Vibes Carter, but him see himself as going to that level. Him see himself as the man right now. Him see himself as the MAN. So when you want the NAM, you know, so I'm going to take shots at the previous MAN. I'm going to think of that one without a doubt. You get me, I say? Alright, so Intense basically into the chat, you know. Intense as also for your shots at Skillibeng, you know, and it's crazy because well, this is how the fans must have on TikTok, on Instagram. Yeah, I just put the picture so I'm just search it by Instagram. The fans must say, imagine a dead man rise up, come dead again. You get me? I say, so the comments are crazy because most people say, oh, with intensity all of them time, yeah. Oh, all of a sudden you come out of the blues just come this Skillibeng. You get me? I say, where were you all of this time? Because I think the good thing about dancehall now, for people understand now, a case like this now where Intense has been out the scene for quite a while now. If Skillibeng should on time, at that point I think Skillibeng will give him exposure in terms of being back a spotlight. Not say him drop off the grid completely because people still know him. If him drop a hit song now, him go get a recognition back. You get me? I say, but what most artists do in my opinion is basically wait for the right opportunity to move to artists. You get me? I say, because if Masicka never did Skillibeng, and Masicka is one of the artists right now, and Forever Rain literally a boom and they can repeat. So when Skillibeng enter Masicka, right, and the people them start tuning and the clash start, and then Intense inject himself in the war now, you know, so people start tuning to him too. You get me? So I think it's strategically, but the only thing I don't like about a three-way war is that it kind of get confusing. You know, one artist have to write two songs for two disc track, one for this artist, one for this artist, instead of him focus on one artist. So that is probably the only disadvantage in my opinion. But I think nothing wrong with clash. If Intense want to get involved, I think what we want now is we want somebody pan Skillibeng side, but we want somebody to jump out and team up with Skillibeng and them can take on Intense. And at that point, the war would be nice. You get me? I say, because everybody can focus on one opponent instead of one person focus on two person. You get me? I say, although them can use one stone kill two person, but that will still be confusing and still be kind of unfair for two artists at this one artist one time. You get me? I say, but this kind of really prove that's the only thing I like with Clash also. It really show up the artist them. It shows alright. That man and I like that man from a long time. Although it's just a clash, but there's no way you're clash somebody we rate, right? There's no way you got this somebody we have no respect for. You get me? I say you must not like him from a long time. And that way I say I go on.